Welcome to Politics in Parlance, a podcast where we muddle through the headlines looking for the punchlines. I'm your host, Christy Liston, and I thank you so much for sharing your time with me. In today's podcast, we are talking with Mr. Colby Watson, who is running for the United States House of Representatives seat for North Carolina, District 8, which is currently occupied by Republican Representative Mark Harris. Colby is a native of Union County, where he lives with his wife and 2 children. And after graduating high school, Colby joined the workforce, going into business together with his brother, and later building his career as a federal contractor. Colby's work has given him firsthand insight into creating jobs and supporting working families. Today, I have the opportunity to talk with Colby about his platform and his vision for our district and what is inspiring him to make this leap into public service. And Colby also has something pretty exciting coming up on October 20th, so hopefully we can get the tea on that as well. Let's dive in.
All right, we are live, and I have Mr. Colby Watson with me. Hello, Colby.
Hello, Christy. Thank you for having me on.
Oh gosh, thanks for being here. So
Absolutely.
Colby is going to be unseating Mark Harris in District 8 in the midterms. So
Yes, we
I'm
will.
putting that out in the universe. So I know I did a little bit of an introduction. So you are a Carolina boy.
That's right. Born
All
and
right.
raised here in Union County.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about growing up here.
So I come from a working background. I started working really, really young. And I've got more about this on my website as well. But after high school graduation, I went directly into the workforce.
Mhm.
So and that's the route many people around here take, and that was really my only option at the time. So that's the
Mhm.
route I took. And it's been, definitely been lots of struggles in between. But so went straight into the workforce. Several years later, married my wife, which really she was really my first love. So I've known her for a long, long time.
Oh,
We
wow.
began to build a family together and build a life together. So one thing led to another, and I knew to build the kind of life that I wanted and have the opportunity that I wanted to have and give our kids that I would have to go into business for myself. So that's what I did. Um,
Mhm.
and I've been on that path for the last decade or so, building businesses for myself. And, and that's really what's allowed me to do what I'm doing today. I always knew that, when I looked around, that I did not want the typical life that I see today. And I think a lot of people are looking for a change and an escape in that, where
Yeah.
people are stuck in jobs for decades, are really not happy in, and it's a very difficult system to escape from. And I knew
It
that was
really
something
is.
that I did not want for myself. So I've worked really, really hard to get out of that, and this is where it's brought me.
That is awesome. Now, is your wife also from North Carolina?
She is, yes.
Okay.
I
How
I
does
have
she
actually known her for about as long as I can remember, since I was a little
Oh,
kid.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
How does she feel about this? I mean, this has got to be a big change for all of you.
It she wasn't sure about it at first, but she is now 100% on board with it.
All right.
She knows that we need change, just like I know we need change, and she's willing to sacrifice to make that happen as well.
Yeah, there's something about having, in times like this, having children, you know.
Right. Hmm.
I mean, when I was pregnant back in 2011, I remember thinking, and our daughter was a wonderful surprise. I mean, my husband and I are old. Um, but I remember thinking, what are we bringing her into? What,
Yeah.
what kind of people are we to do this?
Hmm.
And, I remember my husband saying, well, maybe this is the generation that's going to really get it right.
Yes.
The more I see of my daughter and her friends, I mean, they're kids and kids are going to be kids, but I have a lot of hope,
Hmm.
a lot of
Yes.
hope. So,
I do.
all
I
right.
do
Well,
too. I have hope. I'm optimistic about our future, but it's going to take a lot of work to get us where we need to be.
and getting through the next 4 years,
That's right.
it'll be wild. So, on the screen, you can see the website for Colby. Tell me a little bit. I know it goes through your platform. There were a couple of things on there, and it's all it's very self-explanatory. I know for housing and economy, when I talked with Mr. Morris yesterday, I learned some new terms. Um, infilling, I think he was talking about like putting properties in like where we have a lot of it in our neighborhood in Old South,
Hmm.
empty lots, and they're owned by God knows whoever, probably school system, the county, or things
Yeah.
like that. He was talking about, like the I forget the word that he used, but like mother-in-law suites and like what we had in
Hmm.
Germany, so
Yes.
people can rent a place like that or a tiny house for half of what you're paying in rent,
Hmm.
and people can come off the street, and actually have
Yes.
have a productive life. And I know that's very kind of local. When you're up in the House of Representatives, it's going to be more of trying to make sure, that your district gets what they need. Have you, seen any representatives that have done that kind of work that you're wanting to model for, or being in construction? Do you have any other ideas that you're going to want to pitch to them?
Absolutely. And I have not seen representatives fight this issue like we should, but I'll tell you when it comes to housing, it's not only a lack of housing. I mean, we've got to keep up with the demand, that's for sure.
Right.
But where we stand today, it's not just necessarily a lack of housing, it is the cost of housing. And there
Yeah.
are there are very clear reasons why this is happening. And I try to get this point across to people. We have large investment institutions and outside investors coming into our communities and buying up large quantities of our single family homes.
Yeah.
And
That
that is
started just
putting
recently, right? Like in the
it's
past couple
picked up.
years.
Yes, it's picked up a lot of steam. I would say since COVID, it was already happening, but it's rapidly gaining steam. And that's something that I don't see how anyone can look at that and feel like that's acceptable or something that we should allow to continue to happen, because we've got young people that are trying to come up and buy houses and start lives and build families. They can't afford homes.
Right.
And when you've got, let's see, the first 3 months of 2025, all homes sold across the board in this nation, 30% were bought by investors. Now, that's not all the large investors, but still, that is a tremendous amount of homes, and that's
Yeah.
driving up prices. We can
And there's
expect
already not much inventory really. I mean, and
exactly.
even if there
Inventory
is,
is
it's not
already
moving.
low.
Mhm.
Exactly. And those houses that are being bought and targeted are really the homes that the first time buyer would buy.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we've got to put limits or even outright bans on that. And if
Mhm.
we don't do that, we can't expect to see big change there. And that's going to have to happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's so many monopolies in other industries. I mean, it would be interesting to
Hmm.
see which companies are doing that. So,
That's right. And there
yeah.
are, if you look back and you follow where it's coming from, there are very clear players that are in it.
Mhm.
And I don't think our people in office want to fight against it, to be honest with you. Otherwise, I believe it
Yeah.
would have already been brought to the table.
Yeah, that's very true. Um, the other question that I had, and this is just kind of me learning about how things work through Congress. So when Kamala Harris was running, she was talking about a tax credit for first-time home buyers.
Hmm.
And like the amount that I can't remember the amount she was talking about, but I was like, okay, well, multiply. Wow, that sounds like a lot of money. Then I saw the money that was going towards ICE. Then I'm looking towards like the North Carolina situation we have with Medicaid and the budget and all those
Hmm.
cuts. And it's like, I don't understand. I
Yeah,
mean, how it seems like we have money, but it's not it's not going anywhere that will help the American people. There's no
that's
tax
right.
credits for first time home buyers. Medicaid, all this stuff is getting cut. I mean, I just don't understand. Is this something that has just been happening as Republicans have taken the House and the Senate, or is there a history of this that I just didn't know about because I was too stuck in healthcare?
Well, I think if we look at this at the end of the day,
Mhm.
you take an industry like healthcare, whether it be the pharmaceuticals, insurance, they prefer, they want a privatized, fragmented market in chaos, because they make more money when that happens.
That's why they're
So
privatizing the prisons, right?
that's right. So, I mean, most
Okay.
of these problems we see in these industries, I mean, it's whether, like you mentioned, it's the private prisons, the healthcare, and now we're seeing schools move towards that as well, where they're
Yeah.
starting to be privatized as well. And if
Yeah.
I'm afraid that is also going to fall into chaos and create inequality there as well. So at the end of the day, it's greed that's getting in the way of progress.
Mhm.
And we've got to challenge these systems, and we've got to challenge the status quo. And you know that's not an easy thing to do, and it's a lot of work to do it. And quite frankly, I just believe there's a lot of people that are not willing to put up that fight to make it happen.
Well, and if they haven't had to fight up till now, I think
That's right.
next year is gonna be wild just to
Yes.
see
Hmm.
what happens to the hubris that's there right now, because I have a feeling the more that just the way things are changing. Um, so with the events that you have coming up, which we'll talk about in a little bit, um, you'll probably get to meet a lot of people, not only in the more suburban areas or urban areas of your
Hmm.
district, but also in the rural areas. So with that, I'm going to jump a little bit into healthcare.
Sure.
Um, so North Carolina, if the ACA funding doesn't get changed, if nothing changes in HB1, the big bill, um, what's going to happen in North Carolina after the end of next year, I think it's December 31st, there's going to be enormous cuts to Medicaid that's going to affect
Hmm.
psychiatric care, nursing homes. There's still going to be cuts to things that affect children. They kept that to 3%.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Um, but even the amount, there was a certain amount the physicians paid into the system that helped kind of feed it, right?
Right.
Um, that's actually that's actually changed to where the physicians are going to have to pay more and not get as much back, right? They're just not going to have
Yes.
the access. They're not going to get paid for what they're doing.
Hmm.
I worked in healthcare a long time. Doctors work for money,
Yeah.
you know. Um, and there aren't any programs. I mean, even as a nurse, when I changed jobs, I either looked for better money or something that was such a good job, I was willing to take the cut.
Hmm.
So I guess my question is, if this does go through, I mean, as a community, there's going to be a lot that we're going to have to do to take care of our folks. That's
Absolutely.
just comes down
Yes.
to it. Um, and you won't get sworn in until the next January. Do you think what kind of changes would you say that we could do up until then? And let's just say you walk in and, all hell's breaking loose. I mean, what kind of ideas would you have, for healthcare? I mean, I know the pharmaceutical companies need to get their hands off of everything.
Hmm.
That's a good start. I know you were talking
Yeah.
about that. So if you could expound on that a little bit.
Well, we certainly need more price caps when it comes to pharmaceuticals and whether procedures and things of that nature. And this is something I have thought a lot about. How do we actually fix a broken system here? And the truth of the matter is, we've asked profit, whether we asked or not, I'm not sure, but it is what we have now. But we have profit-driven corporations
Right.
that now have our health and well-being in their hands, and that in itself is counterintuitive. So we're going
But
to have to go deeper and get to the core of these problems to fix things that gives us real change and lasting change. Otherwise, I'm afraid we're going to continue down this road.
right. And the train's going pretty hard in that direction.
It is.
The pushback you will get from Republicans is that the other option is the government having control over healthcare. I think that from what I've seen now about working with Medicare and Medicaid, I would honestly feel safer under that kind of plan than under, gosh, I don't know, Cigna.
Hmm.
You know,
Yes.
um, with what I've seen, especially working in oncology. So I know there's a lot of like really far left people talking about Medicare for all, which would be great, which would have the money for it had
Hmm.
we not given it all to ICE, um,
Yes.
in other countries. is there like a middle ground like that you would be more in favor of? I mean, certainly Medicare for all is a great concept. It's a great idea.
Yes.
I don't know if we're ready for that yet, to be honest, but do you think we could do better with the Affordable Care Act?
I definitely think we could do better. And as I mentioned before, of course, I will be fighting to for policies that make our lives better, more affordable. But my reason for running, it goes deeper than that. As I mentioned before, we need systemic change in this system.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, that's really my purpose for being here. 'Cause
Right.
I know that we cannot continue the way that we're going. And
Definitely.
we're gonna even though that fight that we've got to make is it looks impossible, it's still one that we have to make a stand for. And
Right.
that's where I'm at with these problems.
And we've won more difficult battles. I mean, I know in the seats that we're in right now, I mean, I'm a Gen Xer, you know, we saw a lot, and I think that the country's been through worse. Hopefully we can be strong enough to kind of
Yes.
push through the rest of it. Okay, so I know we touched on education a little bit. I'm gonna kind of go further into current events and I just
Okay.
want to get your take about what's happening right now. We have a No King's Day coming up
Hmm.
on the 18th. I will be there.
I,
Um,
I plan on being there myself, so hopefully I'll
okay,
see you there.
okay, great. Um, it's probably I think it's going to be fine. I was actually worried about the one before, and it was totally fine.
Hmm.
However, seeing what's happening in other states, for me as a first generation American, I'm terrified. Um, from where you're sitting and your experience of being in this country all your life,
Hmm.
just how are you feeling about everything that's happening right now? What's your just where are you at?
Well, in my lifetime, this is the most divided that I've ever seen people. I mean, I know we've had, before my time, we've certainly had a fair share of problems, but in my lifetime, there's no doubt this is the most division I've ever seen. And it's frustrating to see because we're not going to make a lot of progress in this country until we can find a way to come together.
Right,
And that future is, I know it's hard to see right now, but I certainly think that it's very possible to still bring people together. And something that I want to make clear is I'm not trying to alienate myself from any particular group. We
right.
have to have unity. That's just all.
Yeah,
That's all there is to it. We have to.
and that's what we
Um,
have to get figured out. We've got to figure out how to have some conversations without,
that's right.
you know
We're not going to have progress the way it stands, regardless of what side is in control. If we are fighting like we're fighting right now, it's going to be very, very tough for this
Mhm.
country to move in a positive direction and one that benefits all of us.
Right. Have you ever seen the I've Had It podcast? The two my age ladies, excuse me, I can't talk today. Um, there was something that she said about people like who had voted for Trump
Hmm.
and now are kind of suffering from his policies. For example, people who are undocumented that no, they can
Right.
vote, but people who are
Hmm.
family members of undocumented,
Yes.
their family members are getting taken
Hmm.
away. And I think it was Jennifer Welch that was talking about, she said, there's no way, and I feel the same way, there's no way I can sit here and look at that person who voted for Trump and his wife was taken away from him. I can't say, oh, well, FAFO. He lost his wife. Come on,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Am I going to invite him for dinner? If he's hungry, yes.
Yeah.
But we have got to get past this because
Yeah.
I think that, like for me, my problem with kind of the government is Trump, his goons, and the way they're handling it. They're
Hmm.
supposed to be there to make sure that we're safe. That's
That's
what the
right.
government's for.
Yes.
They have no concern for that. And
No,
at
they don't.
least
And
I could look.
that's
You could look at Joe Biden, and he might not have been able to do much, but at least he cared.
yeah. And that's always been, one of the prime functions of government is to protect the many from the few.
Mhm.
And that's just not happening at all now. As a matter of fact, the few that the majority of people should be protected from are now running the show.
You know what I wish we could do is, I mean, I know there's going to be debates and everything, but I wish we could have kind of more town hall type events up until the election,
Hmm.
you know, because there's one thing of watching candidates go back and forth, but I think this time around it would almost be better to have even the candidates both in the same place take the
Yeah.
questions from the
Mhm.
constituents, you know, that, hey, that might be an idea. It's rare.
Yeah,
Write
I
that
hope
down. I don't
so.
come up with
Yeah, well, I love talking to people, and I love getting their questions, whether regardless of what they be, and trying to find common ground and figure out how we can work together to fix this mess we have.
Absolutely. So you've got a pretty darn big event coming up with your campaign. I'm
That's right.
excited about it,
Yeah, I am
but
too.
I'm gonna let you spill the tea because I know you did a video, but this is gonna get. I'm gonna blast this out to everybody I know.
Great.
So what do you got coming up on October 20th?
Okay, so I am walking across the district, the 8th district. That's Lumberton, all the way back to Mecklenburg, with quite a few stops in between there. I was looking at somewhere around 150 miles with the path we're taking, and we're going to be out there talking to real folks, right where they are. And as I mentioned to you before we went live, it's really difficult living here, whether it be in Union or Mecklenburg, understanding the needs of people out in more of the rural areas, whether that be Robinson, Anson,
Mm,
Scotland, Richmond. So it's really about getting out there, talking to them, meeting them, and understanding how they feel and what they need, so that that I can go in being a voice for us all,
mhm.
and and I need to talk to as many people as possible to gather that voice.
Yeah. Well, and the other piece of that too is that's a big endeavor. You're going to need a lot of support. So that's another thing. I know there are a lot of people in red, white, and blue that will
Mhm.
be taking a look at this podcast. So you're going to need people to crew for you. How can people sign up to help your campaign?
Let me give that a little bit of thought, but there are
Okay.
definitely a lot of things that could be done,
Hmm.
and we will put something out. But there's certainly things that can be done.
Okay. All right. And we have the website there again. So will
That's right.
you have the stuff about your walk on the website too? I think I saw it.
That is correct. That is
Okay.
correct.
All right. So anything else that you want to add? I am feeling so optimistic about this. I think we have a good shot here.
I know we do. I absolutely know we do.
All right.
And I feel as optimistic as you, maybe even more. But I think it's time for change. We know we need it. Most people out there feel it.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you ask a lot of people, well, what is it that you want to see? Everybody knows we've got big problems, but a lot of times they have a hard time pinpointing what those problems are. So
Yeah.
my job is to help people see what our problems are and how we can fix them, and we can get this done.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So thank you for your time. And you guys go visit Mr. Colby at his website and volunteer, donate anything you can do to help him. And we'll see y'all again soon. Thank you. And hang tight for me while I do the
Absolutely.
podcasting here.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.